Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Siti NurLiyana.
I am Iman.
I am Mpkhtaruddin Dahiri.
I am Fatin Amirah.
I am Rahimy.
So today, our group will be presenting and explain about the Tabin Wildlife Reserve Sabah, Malaysia.
Tabin Wildlife Reserve Sabah was developed in 1984 with the goal of protecting endangered wildlife. The 120,000 hectare reserve provides a critical breeding area for species that are threatened by logging, as well as habitation for animals from adjacent plantations. The reserve is calm and gorgeous, from the mighty forest areas of pines to the hidden wetlands, making Tabin a refuge for both people and wildlife. And in the 1950s, Tabin was established as the Silabukan and Lumera Forest Reserve. This is the map of Tabin Wildlife Reserve, Lahad Datu, Sabah. Moreover, Tabin is also essential for conservation since it is one of the last remaining areas of Sabah's native lowland rainforest. In acknowledgement of this, two separate forest reserves were formed in 1955 and 1958. However, in 1984, the two reserves were consolidated into a single entity and regazetted as Tabin Wildlife Reserve. Within Tabin Wildlife Reserve, there are two government entities that are in charge of habitat protection and conservation. The Sabah Wildlife Department is responsible for executing legislation relating to Tabin wildlife conservation and managing research, whereas the Sabah Forestry Department is responsible for forest habitat preservation. Tabin not only supports a diverse range of mammals but has a captivating population of birds. The rainforest brims with insects, frogs and other life thanks to its mineral-rich mud volcanoes. Also, Tabin promises countless opportunities for richly rewarding wildlife interaction with its beautiful rivers and streams, wonderful plant life and the pleasure of the easily accessible Tabin Wildlife Resort. Also, as Tabin is located on Sabah's east coast, for tourists who want to experience the excitement and complexity of the rainforest, can take a domestic flight from Kota Kinabalu to Lahad Datu, and then travel for an hour by road to the main base of Tabin. Alternatively, tourists can also travel by land from Sandakan. This is a popular 3-hour tour with tourists who want to see other attractions including the Sukau Kinabatangan River, Selingai, Turtle Island, Sepilo Orang Rehabilitation Centre and Sipadai.
There are many reasons why you should choose Sabah Tabin Wildlife as your holiday destination. For your information, Sabah Tabin Wildlife is the largest wildlife reserve in Malaysia due to its protected area for the existence of Borneo pygmy elephant, Sumatran rhinoceros, wild cattle, orangutan, and many more. The first reason is Sabah Tabin Wildlife is an ecotourism destination that offers abundance of biodiversity of nature that's suitable for individual and group that love to enjoy extreme or adventurous activities such as jungle trekking, night safari, night walk, wildlife spotting, and can get extra knowledge with the rainforest education. Other than that, tourists can try the therapeutic clay mask at their natural active mud volcanoes that call as Lipat Mud Volcano. Next, instead of joining the adventurous activities offered, the tourists can enjoy their holiday by joining the bird watching. There are more than 300 bird species recorded and at once made the destination as an important bird area. Tourists can watch the rarely seen species, which is the thick-bellied flowered pecker, chestnut-capped thrush, and many more by binoculars or high-power telescope. Lastly, all the review from official website and booking website saying that the staff were friendly and the hospitality provided really amazing, which made Sabah Tabin Wildlife won many awards such as 2020 Traveller's Choice, Malaysian Tourism Award for the Best Tourist Attraction in 2003, 2006 and 2015, and Sabah Tourism Award for Best Tourist Attraction in 2003 and 2015. It means that by choosing Sabah Tabin Wildlife as the destination is the great choice to make due to the attraction, hospitality and activities provided really good.
Moving on to the comments of the issue. Despite efforts to protect Tabin from poaching, illegal hunting still takes place in this large wildlife reserve. Tabin Wildlife Reserve is a large protected area. However, because of the timber industry, the forest has no longer been a primary forest since the 1970s and 1980s. Due to its location near a number of oil palm plantations, the forest is not only accessible to the local community, but also to the oil palm workers. So, people may hear gunshots from the oil palm area due to hunting activities. In a collaborative operation that ran in 2019, they managed to collect evidence of poaching such as weapons, traps, and abandoned campsites. Taking that into account, we can conclude that the responsibility for protecting the forest does not belong to one agency alone, but to all agencies that can come together along with support from the public. Over the past decades, Malaysia has attracted a lot of visitors in wildlife tourism, especially to Tabin Wildlife Reserve. Therefore, understanding the tourist-wildlife relationship is vital for them. For instance, the lack of viewing options would negatively affect tourist experiences, impacting their overall decision to return to that particular destination or tell someone about it. This is because the forest structure could influence the reliability of wildlife sightings, and seeing a wild animal up close can come with a certain amount of risk for tourists. To provide safe and effective services, tourism provider must be aware of tourist wildlife viewing satisfaction.
For the new model of the sustainability development in Tabin Wildlife Reserve, they have set a clear standards for the environment as well as the guideline for reducing pollution from ecotourism. Only basic facilities and services are provided. This includes the places to stay and transportation, and among the sustainable development practices are responsibility for natural resources including land and water, reduction in waste, preservation of biodiversity, respect local cultures and landscape, cooperation with other nations in the preservation of natural resources. For the commercial value, as part of the travel and ecotourism industry's obligation to develop and preserve Tabin Wildlife Reserve as the sustainable ecotourism destination, tour operators are required to maintain and enhance the reserve's environmental quality and social integrity. For the novelty, the cosmetic German companies Besdorf and Evonik have teamed up together to assist the Tabin Wildlife Reserve and WWF based on the protect, produce, and restore principles with the goals of. For the environmental responsibility, they divide their visitors into small groups to reduce environmental effect. Reusing dustbin is a way for them to urge their guests to recycle their waste goods. A greenhouse was being constructed so that the hotel's workers and guests may grow their own vegetables by using aquaponic and hydroponic system. Guests are able to make a direct and personal contribution to rainforest preservation by planting trees. They also practice reuses, reduces, and recycles. Cleaning and maintaining involve the use of environmental friendly, biodegradable detergents and enzyme-based chemicals, while energy usage is also closely monitored. For the conservation responsibility, Tabin Wildlife Reserve places a strong focus on the area's natural to safeguard and conserve the reserve. As part of their commitment to environmental stewardship, they cooperate a tree planting program and other initiatives. For the environmental responsibility, they divide their visitors into small groups to reduce environmental effect. Reusing dustbin is a way for them to urge their guests to recycle their waste goods. A greenhouse was being constructed so that the hotel's workers and guests may grow their own vegetables by using aquaponic and hydroponic system. Guests are able to make a direct and personal contribution to rainforest preservation by planting trees. They also practice reuses, reduces, and recycles. Cleaning and maintaining involve the use of environmental friendly, biodegradable detergents and enzyme-based chemicals, while energy usage is also closely monitored.
As for the conclusion, with a powerful strategy and sustainability, a unique activity offered, and amazing diversity flora and wildlife, Mahib to increase growth of Tabin Wildlife Reserve until it was successful to achieve a lot of reward since 2003, and the latest one is the Reward Travel's Choice by TripAdvisor in 2020. Hoping that there are many organizations and all Malaysians will have more concern, be responsible, and give a support to Tabin Wildlife Reserve Sabah as a protection and preserve destination of ecosystem, especially for the future generation. Thank you.